Hello everyone, and good morning, and welcome to our Introduction to H5P webinar on creating interactive content with H5P. Before we get to the good stuff, I just want to briefly go through some housekeeping. I have muted everyone's mic. This is to avoid any feedback on mics or disturbances. We have allocated time at the end for questions, and if you have any questions during the presentation, please feel free to just jot them down into the question box in the bottom right hand corner of your screen. I should let you know that the question box is not visible to me during the presentation, so I won't be able to answer questions until the end. But any questions that you do pop in there, we will make sure to get to at the end. And finally, I want to let any eagle-eyed viewers who have spotted that our logo is in French on the main screen here know that it is being delivered in English. This is just an oversight on our part because we delivered it in French recently. So with all that said, who are Enovation for anyone who isn't familiar with us? Well, in a nutshell, Enovation is an e-learning company who has been creating dynamic online learning for almost 20 years. The content dev team are just a small part of the overall team of e-learning experts who are skilled in not only content creation, but also LMS hosting, design, training, etc. We take care of the whole package. So now that we know who Enovation are, let me introduce myself. My name is Paddy, and I've been an instructional designer and trainer for over a decade, working in both educational institutions and in private industry. I love working in this area because every project is different and a challenge, and the area is always evolving. Now, if you want to know more about anything that we discuss in today's webinar, or if you'd like to chat about your e-learning project, please do give us an email or contact us at info@enovation.ie. So what will we cover in this webinar? This webinar will cover an introduction to the H5P project and what we can achieve using H5P tools. And we'll also take a practical look at several of the most popular content types, including interactive video, image hotspots, and course presentation. So to start with, let's talk about what H5P is. H5P is an open source, community-driven project to create richer and more interactive online content and improve online learning experiences. H5P aims to facilitate sharing of accessible learning materials and make it easier for creators to deliver and publish their modules. H5P works just as well on mobiles and tablets as it does on desktop, and rich interactive content can be shared and reused across websites. So from our point of view, what this means is that we have access to a browser-based, free to use with no license cost content creation tool that is continually being updated and improved, and new interaction types added all the time. It lets us create interactive and engaging learning materials that can be shared via Moodle or Totara or similar LMSs, as well as on other websites and by web link. So one of the most compelling types of content within the H5P interactive content space is the interactive video. This is one of my favorites for engaging learners, and something that up until now we would have completed using a content authoring tool such as Articulate Storyline or Adobe Captivate. Typically with a video-based e-learning course, your learner will watch the video training and then afterwards take a quiz. Finally, at the end, they get some kind of acknowledgement, maybe in the form of a certificate. With H5P, you can embed your knowledge checks and quizzing right in the video. What this allows you to do is to reinforce key learnings right away and ensures that your learners pick up on the key messages in real time. Knowledge checks are not the only thing you can embed in your videos. You can also add in text prompts, so summaries, lists, or web links at key points. You can choose to have the video pause for each interactive element you add, or you can have it continue playing and just have the icon disappear after a few seconds. This is one of the key decisions to make with this content type, as interactive elements shouldn't interfere with the flow of the video, as we know. When you click on any of the interactive elements, the content animates in, and for quizzing, results are displayed clearly and with beautiful graphics. This is a great way to allow learners to interact, explore, and digest the content at their own pace. Course presentation is another great content type. Course presentation is exactly what it sounds like. It's a full interactive course contained within a H5P interaction. So a number of screens which could map to screens in a PowerPoint deck, for instance. In each screen, you can add in all the standard content types, so text with formatting, images, audio, video, etc. You can also intersperse with knowledge checks or quiz questions. Bookmarks help you navigate the course, and depending on the content that you add, a summary screen is automatically added at the end to give your learners feedback on what they've achieved. There are several indicators at the bottom of the content showing that the slide count and also your current position in the course. This also shows learners discreetly where they can find knowledge checks and data points without distracting from the main content. Interactive images. So much like the interactive video content type, interactive images allows you to layer interactive elements on top of a static image. This could be text, lists, video, or even more images. This type of interactive content will work great to demonstrate building or department layouts, various parts of a machine, or maps. With some imagination, you could conduct a treasure hunt or track historical events across a map of Europe. So with all that explained and outlined, let's jump in and build some practical examples so we can see exactly what we're talking about. So I'm going to switch over now to my LMS, and this is my LMS that I'm using for today. This is Moodle, and I'm also going to bring up my storyboard for the content that I'm going to build. And as any seasoned content designer will tell you, having a storyboard is key. So I have all my content outlined here. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is going to go to my LMS and turn editing on. And when you're adding H5P interaction types, they're exactly like any other interaction type, with the exception that they're built right in the browser. So unlike, say, a SCORM that you might build in an e-learning piece of software, with this you build directly in the browser. So I'm just going to click on Add an Interactivity or Resource, and when H5P is installed, you'll see it comes up here just as H5P interactive content, just like any other type of activity or resource. So I'm just going to click on Add there, and we get the standard activity, building screen. Okay, so first of all, I am just going to give my resource a name, and we're first going to build an interactive video, and then you go down to the H5P editor, and here it has all the different types of H5P interactions. So for anyone who has had a look at the h5p.org website, there are over 40 interactions now, and they're constantly adding more with new updates. So the three that I find I use most are interactive video, course presentation, and image hotspots. And because I use those most, they're at the top of my list here. Okay, so I'm going to click on interactive video, and it dynamically loads the content builder into the browser window. So with each content type in H5P, there are different type steps that you go through to build that piece of content, because each piece of content is different. For the interactive video, there's a three-step process. The first one is to add your video, and you can upload that from YouTube or pick a file. The second is to add your interactions. Nothing there at the moment because I haven't picked a video. And then the third is just a summary of what you've added, just to make sure that you've added everything you want and that it appears the way you want. So we're going to go to step one and go add a video. And then, as I say, you can either pick a video from your local machine and just select and browse for that video, or you can enter a URL for YouTube or another web-based service. So I'm going to go to my storyboard here, and I have my link for YouTube, and I'm just going to copy that in there and click Insert. And at that point, the H5P editor checks that it's a valid link and goes off and finds the video. So when I click on step 2 now, it dynamically loads it into both the YouTube player and the H5P player. And now you can start adding interactions. So along the top here, you'll see all the various types of interactions that we can add. Those can be label, text, table, link, image, a couple of different types of knowledge checks being true statements, single choice, multiple choice, true, false, fill in the blanks, drag and drop, mark the words, drag text, crossroads, or navigation hotspot. So they kind of go from simple to more advanced. Sorry about that. They kind of go from simple to more advanced. Okay, so I'm just going to go back to my storyboard here, and in my storyboard I've kind of marked out everything that I want to add for each interaction that we're going to overlay the video with. So the first one is going to happen at about 7 seconds. It is going to pause the video, and it's going to be a text type of interaction. So what I'll do is I'll just play on this video, and I don't think anybody can hear the audio, but it's a video explaining some packing tips. So it works well for interaction types. And so once we get to about 7 seconds, and we've actually gone past that, I'm going to drag it back to here. So at 7 seconds, I'm going to pause the play bar here, and I know I want to insert a text interaction. So I click on text, and it just throws up the overlay for this interaction. And actually, I'm just going to snap them so you can see both at once here. Okay, so for this first interaction, I want it to display from 7 to 8 seconds. So I'll just input that time command, and I do want it to pause, so I'm going to click on pause video, and then I'm going to scroll down, and I see I have my title and my interaction text. Okay, so I'm going to pop in my title there, and then my text, and you see you get a very basic text editor, not as much control as say the advanced editors in Moodle or indeed in Word, but plenty of control for basic text. For formatting, be it bold, italic, strike through, and you can set it the indentation, whether you want it in a bulleted list or to be a link, etc. Okay, so I'm just going to copy in my text here, and I think it's inserted a couple of line breaks, so I'll just remove those. Okay, and that's fine. So then I click on done, and then you can see the icon here show up in the middle. So I can just move this icon around the screen wherever I want it to be. Sorry, just muting a microphone there. So I can just move this icon around the screen here, and I can have it appear anywhere. So if I want it to be more discreet, I might put it up in the corner. If I want it to be front and center, I can make it right in the center of the screen. And that might play into as well whether you want the video to pause for it or whether you want it to just display for a couple of seconds and move on. Okay, so in this case, it's not exactly crucial that the learner clicks on it, so I'm going to move it up to the top left. And you can notice as well, when I do move it around, it changes the heading dynamically to format around where it is on the screen. Okay, so that's fine for that very first one. So now I'm going to move down to the next interaction, and that doesn't happen until 33 seconds. So we're just going to move on until, sorry, about 33 seconds in the video. And that is not going to pause, and it's going to be a knowledge check in the form of a single choice set. Okay, so I'm going to select my single choice set interaction type, and I want that to be from 33 to 37, so I'm just going to update that timestamp. And it's not going to pause it's not going to pause the video, so I'm going to leave that unticked. And then I'm just going to come down, and I can see my question stem and my answers here. So I'm going to select the question stem and just paste it in there. I don't need any special formatting. Now, something to note as well with this type of interaction is that it's telling you to put in the correct answer first. So you don't actually tick which answer is correct, you just put the correct one in first. So okay, so I'm going to paste it in there, and it's brought the bold formatting, so I'm just going to remove that from the text so I don't give the game away. I've just bolded it in my own storyboard so I remember which one is correct. So I've pasted in the first two there, and it's given me the option to add more as I need them. So I'll just select my third one there, and I have my 3 options. Now by default, it has actually added 2 questions to this single choice set interaction type, so I only want 1. So I'm just going to remove that second one and confirm that. Okay, and with all that done, I can just come down to the bottom. I don't need to change any scoring ranges or anything, and just click on done. Okay, so this one I think I will leave more central because I want users to see that it is a knowledge check. And you'll notice also that there are different colors for different types of interaction that overlay the video. The knowledge check comes up in a kind of a pink, which is a bit more striking than the blue for the text entry. Okay, so that's that one done, and we're going to move on to the third type, and this is going to be another text type of interaction. But in this case, it's going to come up towards the end of the video, and it's going to give us a recap on the tips that we've learned in the video. So this is going to come in around 120. So I'm going to drag the timeline along to there. Again, select the text type, and this will pause. So I'm going to click on the pause button video there, and it's going to come in from 120 to 124. Okay, so I'll just input the timing there and then move down and select the text itself and the title and just paste those in. Okay, and that's fine, and I'll just click on done there. And you can see as I add the interactions to the video, I get an indication here just above the timeline of the different types. And there's a little more detail there, and I'll go into that when we're replaying the video. So finally, I'm going to add one more single choice set, and that's going to be just at the end of the video at 125. And I'm going to select that there, and that's going to be 125 to 128. And it again is going to pause the video because this is an interaction I want users to do before they finish the video. Okay, so I'm going to select and copy in the question stem, and then again coming to my answers, I'm going to paste in, just remove that bold formatting from the first, remembering to put in the correct one first. And I'm just going to add one more alternative and then remove that second question. Okay, so now we're done adding our interactions on top of the video. And so with this done, we can just click on summary, and in here it just checks the scoring and any ranges for specific feedback you want to add, if you want to add any tip statements throughout the video. So we don't want to add any of that for now, and we don't need to change any of the default settings. So we're just going to click save. And I'm going to turn editing off, and then we're going to go in and preview the interaction that we've made. And we can see it just displays natively in the page with the YouTube player, but with the H5P player overlaid. So you can see down the bottom here, we're scrubbing along the timeline. We come to the very first one and it pauses, and it's cut off the heading there, so we might need to just do a little work on that or move it around a little bit. So I'm going to click on the icon there, and our text is displayed in an overlay over the video that I can close down. Restart the video, and our video replays again. And you'll notice that with the text type of overlays, you just get this very small dot, just indicating that it is an interaction. Whereas with the actual knowledge checks, you see a bigger circle indicating there is actually some question or knowledge check or quiz to be done here. And you'll also see that when you highlight over it, and when you highlight it over it on the timeline, you get a label telling you what type of interaction it is. So when I click on my first knowledge check here, I get the question and I make a selection. It gives me my feedback right away and then gives me my score for that mini quiz. So if you wanted to have 2 or 3 or more questions in there, it would score you on those right away. And you notice that the icon goes away after I've completed the interaction, and the video just resumes scrubbing. Okay, so the video continues playing on. And as I said earlier, if you put your mouse over the individual interactions, it tells you exactly what each of them are. And then as we come up to the end of the video, we're just going to reinforce the main points covered. And in this case, the video pauses and we get our recap of the main points. And they come up there. Okay, and we're going to close that off and just play again. And then right at the end, the user gets the opportunity to do one more knowledge check. Okay, so I'm going to deliberately get this one wrong, just so you can see what an incorrect answer looks like. And you can choose to tell them what the right answer is there or not in your feedback. And then you can choose whether to show them the solution, retry, or just continue. So if we retry and get it correct, it just updates and gives us the correct feedback. Okay, so click continue. And you can see there a summary screen at the end will come up and show you each question, where it was in the video, and what your score was. And then if you want, you can submit those answers. So it's all handled right within the video. Okay, so that's the first interaction type, and that's interactive video. So we're just going to go back to our course page and turn editing on again. And we're going to do the second interaction type. And this one is called course presentation. So I'm going to click add and input the name. And then come down to the H5P interactive content editor. Okay, and click on course presentation. And you can see it's a different type of content builder here, again tailored to the specific type of H5P interaction that we're actually building. So this is slide based. If you think of this one kind of more similar to a PowerPoint or to an e-learning presentation. So by default, it's telling you that there's one slide here, and we can add more slides, clone our existing slide, change the slide background or master, and then move the slides within the presentation, or even delete the slides. And so the bottom menu here focuses on the slide creation and master creation and moving slides around your presentation. Whereas the top menu focuses on adding elements to your slide, be they text, video, audio, knowledge checks of various types, summaries, and then there's some more types added or hidden in the menu here, such as Twitter, tables, things along those lines. Okay, so I'm again just going to split screen and go to my storyboard. And we're going to build a really basic course presentation here just to give you a flavor for the interaction type. Okay, so on slide 1, I am just going to do an intro screen. And so I just have some text here I'm going to copy across. And it's just going to be intro to GDPR. And so what I see there is that's just a little bit small. So I'm going to click on the box and then the edit button. And then that will allow me to highlight the text and just change the size. So the way the font sizing works in this particular interaction is it works on percentages. So by default, you've got 100%. So I might make this quite big. I might make it 150. Just click done on that. And you know what? I even want it a little bigger than that. So I will just select again and go 175. Great. Okay, and I'll just move that down to the center, and then the next thing I probably want to add is an image. So I'm going to click on that and then click add, and it will just take me to the to browse my local machine. And so with that, I find the image I want to add, and that's fine, and I can add it in there. So I'll move the image up to the top, put the title underneath. I'm just going to make that title ever so slightly bigger again. Okay, and then move it off into the center. And the last thing I'm going to do is just add another image for the slide background. And I'm going to drag that down to the bottom. And just a rough layout for my slide. Nothing too extravagant for that first slide. And then I'm just going to add my second one. And you notice then that the navigation bar updates so that I can see there are now 2 slides and I can navigate between them. Okay, so the second slide that I'm going to have in my course presentation is going to be a YouTube video. So I'm going to select that from my storyboard, and I am going to go to insert visual, or insert video I should say, sorry. And again, it gives me the same dialogue I saw before. So if I want to, I can add a video from my local machine, or I can add one from YouTube. So I'm just going to paste in my YouTube URL and click insert and click done. And then it takes a second to load and you can see the player head there. So again, I'm just going to drag this out so it kind of fills the screen a little better. And then that's fine. The player will take care of everything else. Okay, so that's all I need for my second screen. So I'm going to add a third screen here. And this one is going to be giving some more details about the legislation. So we've introduced the topic. We've given them a little video to add, giving them some details, and now some more technical details on when the legislation will change. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to just paste across my title. And again, I just want to make that a little bit bigger. Okay, and then I'll just place that on the slide. And again, I'll just bring up a new text box and paste in my main text for the slide. Now I can start to lay it out. And you'll see that by default, that box isn't quite big enough to display all of our text. So you need to just be careful when you're pasting in a significant amount of text that you have allocated enough space on your content holders to display all of the content that you have. And then the last thing I'm going to add on this slide is just an image in the top right. Okay, and that's my third slide there now. Okay, so I've introduced the topic, given them a video, given them some more details. So now we're going to do a knowledge check on our fourth slide. So I'm going to add that here at the bottom. And again, you can see that the navigation bars are there to allow you to move around your presentation pretty seamlessly. So this one is going to be a multiple choice knowledge check. And I have my question stem there. I'm going to paste that in. And now I have my available options. So this is a multiple choice, so you don't have to put the correct option first. And in fact, you can tick which one is correct. Okay, so I paste in the first one, and that's fine. That's not correct. Then the second, and this one is correct. And again, I just notice that I have these options bolded in my storyboard just for myself so I know which are correct, and I just want to remove those. Okay, and I'm going to add another option for the third and remove that bolding, and just one more option there. Okay, so let me just recap there to make sure I have everything. So I have my question stem, and I have my option that's incorrect, and the second option is correct, the third is correct, and the fourth is correct. Okay, that's great. So I'll just click on done. And again, I'll just resize this. You notice it automatically puts in kind of some graphics around the question options, which is great. And then the last thing I want to do is just bring in a little image just to make sure it's not too flat on the slide itself. Okay, and I'll just pop that up in the top right there. Okay, so that is my first knowledge check, and then I think I want to add one more knowledge check into this, and that's again going to be a multiple choice. So what I can do is I can add a new slide, or I can clone the existing slide just to reuse some of that effort that I've used by building that previous slide. So maybe I want to use it as a master. Okay, so I'm just going to copy in my question stem and overwrite the previous one, and then do the same with the options. So in this case, my first one is going to be the correct one, and all the others are incorrect. So I will just make sure and untick those as I go through. Okay, and just click done on that, and then I will select the existing image, delete that, and then add in a new image here. Okay, and you can also see as I've added knowledge check slides, they're indicated here in the bar, similar to the interactive video. So it gives you an idea as a learner what's coming up ahead without distracting from the content that you're currently looking at. Okay, so that's everything I want in my course presentation. You can change the standard Moodle options if you want to. There are also some options down below here which you can change if you want to show solutions to the buttons, add retries, things like social settings to allow users to share their scores or share the fact that they've completed the interaction on Twitter, on Google+. So we're going to leave those blank for now and just click Save and Display. And then as we come back to the page, I'm just going to make it full screen so we can see it a little bigger. Okay, so we have our 6-screen basic course presentation interaction here on GDPR. The first one just introduces you to the topic. Then we go to the next slide and we see we have a nice YouTube video to watch. And we can play that. And from there, of course, you can click to break out into YouTube if you really want to and do whatever you need to do while watching that video. And then click onto the next slide, which is just giving you some more details on the topic at hand. And we'll read through that and then move on to the knowledge checks. Okay, so this is a multiple choice, and I think maybe those are the answers. So I'll scroll down, and you can see actually I haven't left quite enough room in there for the check button, so that's something to watch out for there. So we can go back and resize that. I'll show you that in a second. So I click on check and it tells me that I got 2 out of 3. So do I want to see the solution or retry? Okay, so in this case, I'll just choose to see which are the correct ones. And okay, so now I can move on. And again, I can see in the presentation itself that I maybe should have left just a little bit more room for the overall knowledge check. So I'll be sure and go back to edit that when I next build this slide. Okay, so what are the correct answers here? Okay, maybe that one there. Okay, that's correct. And it gives me my feedback inline there. And you'll notice that because I've added the knowledge check types of questions here, it's also automatically added a summary slide here to show me how I did when attempting the knowledge check questions in the course presentation. And it would show me there whether that is a passing score and how I did in the presentations itself. Okay, so that's the second interaction type. That's course presentation. And we're just going to go back now and take a look at the third interaction type. So I'm going to click on Add an Activity or Resource and Interactive Content again. And I am just going to give this activity a title. And then click on H5P interaction type and image hotspots. And then I will just drag that over so I can see my storyboard again. Okay, so this is an interactive image hotspot type of interaction. And what we've chosen to do here is to do the layout of a department. So if you were starting in a new business, or if your business had moved to new premises and you just wanted to let everybody know where the different departments were located in your building. Excuse me, so we're going to click on Add to add the image. And then I'm going to select the image that I want to use as my base for this interaction. Okay, and that is the image there. And then when you scroll down, you can see that you can select the different colors for your interactions, or for your hotspots, I should say, and then you can start adding your hotspots. So for now, I think I'm going to leave them by the default. And I'm going to start adding the information here. So the first department I'm going to add is sales. And they are going to sit right in the middle. And I'm going to input the header, and then it allows me to choose what type of content I want to pop up in the hotspot. You can have multiple types or just one. So for this first one, we're just going to do one. It's just going to be text. And it's just going to be where you find that department, who you can contact, and how you can contact them. So we're going to add a second hotspot, and that is going to be for the marketing team. And just refer back up here to see where they go. They sit here. And under the marketing team, I'm going to put in the heading. And then I'm going to first of all add a text piece of text with the same information, how to contact them, but I'm also going to add a short video, because marketing being marketing, they've produced a nice slick video to tell you what the marketing department can do for you in the business. So again, I'm just going to paste that in a YouTube link there, and then that will check that the link is valid, but you don't need to do any more than that for this hotspot. Okay, and we're going to add the engineering department next, and they sit over to the left here. And again, it's just going to be a basic text for the engineering department. And then finally, we're going to add HR. And they sit over here. I'm just going to put in the title and text. And then I'm also going to add a second item to this one. And that is, that is going to be an image. And then we're just going to use the image picker to find the image there, and that's fine. Okay, so let me just recap what we have done here. So we have a image hotspot interaction, and to that image hotspot interaction, we have added 2 text-based ones and 2 text and image-based ones. And I noticed just that I've neglected the header in the engineering department. So okay, so I'll just go back and check the hotspots that I've added. So the sales and text and marketing and text and video, and then engineering, text, and HR, text and image. Okay, so with all that done, I'm just going to click save and return. And then let's go in and take a look at the interaction itself. I am just going to go back and turn editing off, and then click into the interaction itself. And you can see that it shows up nice and big. It scales with Moodle and with your LMS. Okay, so my first hotspot here, when I click on it, I bring up the marketing department, and you can see the text, the contact, and inlaid in that you can see the video as well. Okay, and that looks great. I'll close that down. Next I can see sales, and I can see engineering, and I can see the HR hotspot as well with the image built in as well. Okay, so that is the third interaction type that we're going to cover today. That is image hotspots. So we've covered interactive video, course presentation, and image hotspots interaction types today. So sorry about that, guys, just a quick mic problem there. So to quickly recap, what we've done today is we've introduced the H5P standard, several common interaction types, interactive video, course presentation, and image hotspots. And we've done a practical demo of those 3 content types. So does anybody have any questions or comments on what we've covered today? So Luke asks, can knowledge checks be added to video within other content types, e.g. in the course presentation? That's a really good question, Luke. And to that specific question, no, you can't layer the interactive video on top of another type. But I do like the way you're thinking, because what H5P does let you do is nest several different content types within other container types, if you want to call them that. So for instance, with your course presentation, you can nest some other content types in there. I don't think you can do interactive video though. I'm going to have to check that and confirm, Luke, but I don't think that is possible. But it does allow you to, as I say, nest different types of content within one another. So you can definitely produce some interesting combinations. And you can also use these in conjunction with Moodle tools such as the book tool or the course tool to produce, as I say, very tailored combinations for what you want to display. Thanks, Luke.
Hello, Paddy. I have a question if you don't mind.
Hi, Ray. Go
How you
ahead.
doing, Paddy? Just a general question. Wondering if H5P can be used to link audio in a YouTube video and to generate text that would become interactive with the audio. I'm trying to figure out a way to highlight text as it's read.
So say again, Ray?
Trying to use audio from a YouTube video
Yeah.
and generate text with H5P and have the text highlighted as it's read in the audio.
So what you want to do is have the transcript appear and
As the audio is heard and to have the words highlighted as they're said. I'm wondering, is there a way to use H5P to link the YouTube video and the generated text?
I think you would have to, I don't think there's any way of doing it dynamically. So you could insert the text into pop-ups as you go, but YouTube also has a closed captions feature that I think would accomplish what you're trying to do there, Ray. It wouldn't highlight it per se, but
You couldn't use timestamps to add an action to the text?
yeah, you could absolutely. Yeah. So if you want specifically to have specific interactions come up at various timestamps, yeah, absolutely. But I don't think it would automatically link to all of the text. You would have to input each interaction.
Yeah, no, I realize that the action would have to be inputted, but what I'm trying to find out is whether it's possible to have the text highlighted word by word, or do you have to have a whole line highlighted, or can
Oh,
you?
sorry, I understand what you mean. So as the text or closed caption appears on screen, to actually have it highlighted on screen word by word.
Yeah, as the audio is heard, I'm trying to figure out whether you could have the text highlighted as words are spoken.
Yeah, I understand what you're trying to do. There's nothing built in to do that. You could manually add highlighting and move the box as each word is spoken, but that would be a very labor-intensive effort, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that would be more down to maybe requesting YouTube implement that. But I mean, it's a good feature and maybe an extension of the closed captioning. I haven't seen anyone try to do anything similar to that. Just
Okay, no
just that I've
problem.
seen.
I'll keep experimenting with it. Okay.
Yeah, do, and by all means, feel free to drop us an email at info@enovation.ie, and maybe we can talk about it some more. If there might be anything else that could do that, I don't think H5P could automatically do that for you, though, unfortunately.
Okay, no problem. All right, thanks, Paddy.
Thanks, Ray. Does anybody have anything else they would like to, any other questions they'd like to ask, or any other topics they'd like to cover on H5P? Okay, guys, well, if there's no more questions, I'd like to thank you all for attending. And if you do have any follow-up or questions that you would like to ask, please do drop us an email at info@enovation.ie. And that's if you have any questions on H5P or any topic in the learning sphere, LMS, hosting, design, training, please do let us know. I've just had one more question come in there. Can H5P, this is from Angelina, can H5P activities be embedded in other Moodle activities? Yeah, so as I say, you can use H5P within other Moodle activities like book or course to blend the content that you're putting together. And there's definitely some potential there to build some really interesting blended learning between the standard activities and the H5P. So you don't have to just use H5P. You can use the existing Moodle ones and use H5P for the more interactive elements. And definitely it can still enhance your materials to do it that way. So thanks, Angelina, for that, and I hope that answers your question there. Okay, everyone, I think that's the last question that's come in. And thanks very much, Ray. Cheers, Ray, just saying thanks very much, useful demo. Okay, so thanks everybody for attending. And as I say, if you have any questions, please do contact us on info@enovation.ie. to learn more about LMS or H5P or anything else that you want to know more about in this space. Thanks very much, everyone.